He said, "For me, life without murder is like life without food." Alexander Pichushkin, the man who would become known as the Chessboard Killer, terrorized Moscow between 1992 and 2006, claiming to have murdered 60 people, mostly vulnerable men he lured into a city park. He was convicted of 49 murders, but his goal? One for every square on a chessboard. 64. This is the twisted story of a serial killer obsessed not with chaos, but with completeness. Born in 1974 in Moscow, Alexander Pichushkin had a seemingly quiet early life. But after a childhood accident, a swing hitting his head, his behavior began to change. Doctors now believe the blow may have damaged his frontal lobe, which controls impulse, judgment, and aggression. He became more withdrawn, more erratic. He was transferred to a school for children with behavioral issues and was bullied constantly. His only escape? Chess. Chess gave Pichushkin structure, control, a system where every move had meaning. He practiced obsessively, watching older men play in Bittsa Park, a sprawling forested area in Moscow that would later become his killing ground. He once said, "A life without murder for me is like a life without food." That chilling sentiment would become horrifyingly real. Pichushkin's first confirmed murder came in 1992, when he was just 18. He lured a classmate into the woods and pushed him into a sewer. The classmate died, but police ruled it an accident. And so Alexander Pichushkin learned the same lesson many serial killers do early on. If you're careful and the victim is vulnerable, you won't get caught. He stopped killing for a while, but the fantasy never left. Between 2001 and 2006, Pichushkin went on a killing spree. His targets were men who were homeless, elderly, or alcoholics, people unlikely to be missed. He would invite them to Bittsa Park to drink vodka and talk, often suggesting they honor a lost dog or relative with a toast. Then, when their guard was down, he'd strike them in the back of the head with a hammer. Sometimes he shoved vodka bottles into their skulls. Other times he strangled them with string. He kept a chessboard at home, marking each kill with a square. By the time he was caught, 49 were confirmed. He claimed 60. His goal was 64. Pichushkin didn't kill at random. He chose victims who were vulnerable, invisible to society, people no one looked for. He believed he was smarter than the police, smarter than the system, and for years, he was. Forensic psychologists later said his crimes were not just about violence, but dominance, the feeling of control over life and death. He once told investigators, "I killed because I wanted to. I felt like God." Despite living with his mother in a small apartment, no one suspected him. He helped neighbors carry groceries, took care of his dog. He even worked briefly in a supermarket. But inside his home were the chilling signs: a chessboard with numbered squares, detailed notes about each victim, a collection of vodka caps and murder weapons. Still, no one looked, until he made a mistake. In June 2006, Pichushkin lured a co-worker named Marina Moskalyova to Bittsa Park. She made a fatal decision, but also a critical one. She left a note for her son saying she was meeting Alexander. When she didn't return, police found the note and surveillance footage of Pichushkin and Marina leaving together. He was arrested days later. Under interrogation, he confessed to dozens of murders with chilling calm. In 2007, Alexander Pichushkin stood trial for 49 murders and 3 attempted murders. He showed no remorse, often smiling as details were read aloud. He even asked the court to add more victims to his conviction list, claiming they had missed some. The media dubbed him the Chessboard Killer and Russia's new Chikatilo. He was found guilty on all counts and sentenced to life in prison, with the first 15 years in solitary confinement. What drove Pichushkin? Experts say he displayed signs of narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial behavior, and sadistic tendencies. But the most chilling part wasn't his method, it was his goal: completion. 64 murders, 1 for every square on the chessboard. It was never about rage or revenge. It was ritualized obsession, a compulsion to fill every space. He didn't want to escape. He wanted to be remembered. Alexander Pichushkin wasn't the most violent killer, or the most clever. He was the most obsessed. His story is a reminder that evil can exist in the ordinary, that someone can walk among us with a plan so methodical we don't even see it until it's too late. If this case disturbed you, good. These stories aren't told to shock. They're told to remember the victims and to help us understand the minds that commit these crimes. Subscribe for more true crime documentaries, and let us know in the comments, what makes someone like Pichushkin so easy to overlook until it's too late?